Exactly.
I've never heard of that before. Matter of fact,
So
you asked Brandon Scott when he was on his program about this, and he said that you could call him and all that. Whatever happened with that?
I called before your program was over. That was the 19th of September. I am still waiting for a phone call back.
What you mean?
The
future mayor didn't fix the problem? Hold on a second. The future mayor didn't fix the problem?
I'm optimistic. I'm going to say he hasn't fixed the problem yet.
Lord have mercy. Maybe. Let me say. Let me say this. Maybe this is why my vote is going to Pastor Shannon Wright, because I believe that if you had called her, she would have fixed the problem.
Well, I confirmed when I complained about this encounter, and I submitted it in writing where I was told to do so on the police website. There's a place for complaining. And I received a phone call back. Mm-hmm. And the officer who called me back had a name that sounded as though it was a Latino name. And he told me policy of the Baltimore Police Department. So this is not a conspiracy theory. I have it on, I have experiential knowledge of this. And so I am working to get this overturned, because if it is the policy, why has it been only once that I have been told or asked my race when I've called 911 multiple times since I've lived in Baltimore?
Well, let's see here. Let's just try this out. Now, Dr. Jones, you have a vast experience with the police department. If you've called them, have they ever asked your race?
Never, ever. This is the first time, I'm blown by this. This is wow.
It sounds like select. Now, I think Brandon Scott said something about maybe a policy as of the DOJ's consent decree. That was only thing he could think of, because he was a little baffled too. It sounded like,
yeah.
But it actually sounds more like ethnic selection. Because when I was in the Western District, that if the people couldn't read or write well, they weren't given the option to actually have reports for their issues like larceny or some break-in or something. Then I would say, I'll write a report, and somebody will say, well, she can't read, so don't even worry about it. I said, well, that don't sound right. I said, what if if she can't read, what if maybe her nephew can read, maybe her niece could read, or aunt. She deserves to get what everybody else gets. So, that selective, matter of fact, it says here, according to the Baltimore Insider, or BusinessInsider.com, Professor John Rogers and Brian Stitz says in a study of 2010 census data that reveals that Baltimore black and white disparity has a score of 64.3%, which doesn't sound like anything bad unless you understand that above 60 means it's very highly segregated. And so segregation and racism abounds here by neighborhoods and sections, because in Roland Park, they're not going to ask you what your race is.
Mm.
Yeah.
I assert that they're not asking race, because when I call and the person who answers the phone is female, I'm not asked my race. If I call 911 and the person who answers the phone sounds as though they might be African American, I'm not asked my race. I am old enough to be a grandmother, and never in my life when I have called 911, and I was alive before there was 911, I have never been asked my race. And I would further assert that someone calling 911 who is white, speaking with an officer who is white
Mm-hmm.
might not feel as intimidated when asked their race as someone calling 911 who is of another race.
Well, I see you're starting trouble here, Cheryl Crockett.
Good trouble.
Also, hold on a second. So, hold on a second. We have another caller. Area code 773-6767. How can we help you? Elevation Radio 1.
Hey, God bless everybody. Reverend Henderson here.
Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. Hold a second. All hail.
Yeah,
We now have the apostle, the bishop, the doctor of doctors. It's Reverend Henderson. Good God Almighty. I tell you, welcome, sir.
I just wanted to, continue to encourage Cheryl and everything that she does because, this is definitely something that's needed. A SitOut2SitIn protest because just a few days ago, I was emailing some folks that work with young people, and I believe a few weeks ago we even had a conversation about a young lady at Poly High School that was, troubled, by the Breonna Taylor situation, and wanted to talk about it among other students. And I don't think the school, provided the space. I know we're supposed to social distance and everything, but young people are traumatized by what they're seeing on TV as it relates to these kind of injustices. And this doesn't only affect, just them personally, but it affects, other people, as we've seen, on television. So, I just want to, continue to encourage her just to, get folks, on board to be a part of a peaceful protest, because some people look at protests and they say that they're violent, but they're not. There's no violence connected to this. This is a positive protest, and, people do need to speak out. And, one of the things I put on my Facebook page a lot is that, we have to continue to pray without ceasing. Years ago, I remember the mothers in the church used to remind us that, these things come by fasting and praying, and we'd have to turn down the plate. And so we got to get back to those times that, we just stay at the altar and pray for a change to come. And God bless you too, Pastor Turner. Thank God for your show, and keep on keeping on. That's all I wanted to share. I'm going to keep listening.
Well, when I get a call from a man like yourself, I mean, I've got some heavyweights on the phone today. The Warrior Queen, Tawana Jones, and national police brutality activist. I've got Pastor Henderson. What do you do? What's your job title, sir? So that folks will know.
Yeah, I'm the project project director for the Southeast Baltimore Drug-Free Community Coalition, but I'm not representing that today. I'm coming on as a private citizen, a clergy, a man of God, and feel that it's important to be of support, for this great cause.
Well, I will say that your faith must be in action, and we can talk a lot in the church, eat a lot of chicken dinners and all that kind of stuff, but you ain't no good unless you come out into the streets.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Amen. So I thank you.
And I want to thank Reverend Henderson. He's the one who introduced me to your program.
Yes,
I called in and listened. It was almost a year ago. And
really?
I was calling in to listen, and then you said talk on the radio. Suddenly I was on the air, and that was the first time that I got to meet you. I think it was last November, maybe December 2019.
Your memory is excellent. I'm so glad I don't owe you any money. It's incredible. Yeah. Thank you.
About a year ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about a year ago, and Reverend Henderson said, tune in, that you would be talking, that you two would be talking, and I said, sure, I got some time, I'll listen. So there I was, and I've called in, I think, to 2 other programs, and you've been so gracious, and and that's why there's some history about my experiences with racism in Baltimore City on previous broadcasts. The one with Brandon Scott and one prior to that, where I outlined the whole situation, and I thank you for that.
Well, I have ran for office and all that good stuff, but I got rejected. However, I believe that this is a platform that the regular folks overlook can actually have a place to speak and be heard and have the voice to air their concerns and hopefully get some solutions. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Thank you, Pastor Henderson. Bishop Apostle, thank you for calling in, sir. And you owe me lunch. God bless you.
I haven't
got it. I haven't got either. All right, now. Take care. All right, got another call
really
here.
About SitOut2SitIn and the COVID crisis, as people were protesting, was that at this point we've lost over 210,000 American lives. I want to ask the listeners, what percentage of those deaths do you think were registered or eligible voters? And how many more will be lost and not make it to the polls? I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm telling you, protect your health when you're standing up for what you believe in.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Okay. Caller, let me see here. Ending in 4312. Welcome to Elevation Radio 1.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Pastor Steve. This is Michelle Andrews.
Lord have mercy. Hold on a second. Who did you say?
Pastor Steve, right?
You got the right person. Who are you?
Michelle Andrews, running for the 6th District City Council.
So you're protesting. You're protesting.
A little bit of both.
Lord have mercy. Dr. Crockett, this is Michelle Andrews. Welcome to the program. You've got Tawanda Jones here, the Warrior Queen against police brutality. And this is the candidate for office in the 6th Councilmanic District, running against an incumbent, Sharon Green Middleton, who has been in that office seat for 12 years, and we have nothing to show for it.
How about
Absolutely
that?
Nothing. Vacant housing, poverty, unemployment, crime, high crime, Section 8 housing, and more Section 8 housing. No real jobs and things. I've invited her to come through an open challenge on Facebook to come to this program and debate you, or at least talk about what she's going to do on the 17th. So let's see if Sharon Green Middleton can come on. This is a digital protest, baby. Come on and talk about it. Tell the constituents what you're going to do. Since he had a debate with her on the 16th, but she did what? She did what?
She pulled out. The next day, one day she said she would do it. The next day she must have slept on it and said, "No, I'm pulling out." She declined. She declined.
So already we got broken promises. I got Brandon Scott, and I followed through what he said to my listener, my friend, Cheryl Crockett, about tapping into the issues. So it seems to be good. Both of them are, I hate to say this, but both of them are Democratic. So is that the way it is? That's what and you want to reelect these people again? I don't think so.
The insanity. We got to retrain the brain. They've been trained to do the wrong thing for so long. We had 70 years of Democratic ruling here in Baltimore City, and what do we have to show for it? Like I said on my live, I got dilapidated buildings falling down, one homeowner in the middle of all of these condemned buildings, and then her house has to get, damaged, water damage and all this stuff because there's no one residing in the houses on either side of her. And she can't afford to move. And that's not fair to her that she has to deal with that. She said she's been trying to get the city to come out and clean up these places that's around her home, but it's making it dangerous for her.
So let me
and I want to
understand what you're saying, because I see it as